Steve and Debbie.
Your Honor, those are my client's parents.
Oh, all right. This is a motion made by the plaintiff, and I'll explain that in a minute, for parenting time. The plaintiff is represented by Mr. Sherlin. The defendant is represented by Miss Osborne. It's a very unusual case. The father, in this case, was seeking parenting time, suffered an aneurysm and a couple of strokes, I believe, back in November. From some of the notes I read, there were times that I don't think he was expected to survive. He did survive through an operation. He is in Mary Free Bed for rehabilitation. I have no idea how long. I don't know what his condition is. And basically, there's a 9-year-old child who is admitted by everybody that has a great relationship with his father, but right now his father's in the hospital. Mr. Sherlin, I've read your request and I've read Miss Osborne's response. Basically, you're asking for some type of time. Let me make it real clear right now. I'm not going to change anything regarding custody. I think this is a temporary thing. I hope it is. We can deal with that at a later time if it's necessary. Dad's recovering at Mary Free Bed, and you're trying to get some time where the child goes to see the father.
That's correct, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Sherlin?
Yes, and so the update, and I'm really pleased to provide the court with an update that my client's parents just showed me a video of my client walking, albeit with assistance, but walking under his own power. Also, he's a keyboard player and he was actually playing the keyboard. He's texting, he's, all the right neurons are firing and he's, coming back to be his old self. We don't know this for sure, but there's been discussion that he may be able to go home in 3 to 4 weeks. Again, nobody's given a discharge date, but there's been that discussion. So, I think it's fantastic, that the progression has been so strong. Your Honor, I appreciate the fact that you've read this. I'm just looking for something on a temporary basis. And here's the context of it. Before December 24th, there were 3 visits. And on the 3rd visit, the defendant suddenly shifted gears and said the only way that the minor child could have contact is if my client's parents were supervised by her husband. And
well, you don't even have to go through that because that's not going to happen. That's not all right.
Well, and Your Honor, there's
this is a bad situation that I should not even be involved with anyhow, because quite frankly, the family should have figured this out, especially with the temporary nature of it, and especially because the mother even admits that the child has a great relationship with the father. However, the reality is he just can't have the week on, week off that he did before.
At least not for
I have no idea when, if, okay? I mean, I don't know, and nor do you, okay? I mean, if he comes back and is 100%, I'm sure that the court will look at it and give him back to it, okay? I don't know, and I'm glad he's making progress, but I think
the problem here though is the defendant she actually goes into the ICU and tries to hand him papers while he's in the ICU.
That's all done. It's in the past, okay? I'm not going to paint her as a bad person at this point. I don't think she knew what to do. I'm not happy with that. She scheduled a custody, I think, motion in front of me when he was unconscious. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I told my clerk, we're not going to do this. It just isn't going to happen. All right. I got to know what's going on.
All we're asking for, Your Honor, is 2 evenings a week that my client's parents can facilitate until we can revisit this when my client returns home, but just 2 evenings a week and then alternating weekends. And so here's the value of allowing my clients to do a Friday to Sunday. And one of these recent visits that was controlled, if you will, by the defendant's husband, they showed up right at my client's dinner time at the hospital. If if we can let my client's parents facilitate this, then they can work the schedule that provides for optimum contact between father and son.
I'm not giving grandparent visiting time right now.
It's not grandparent visiting time, it's facilitation of my client's parenting
You can
time.
call it what you want, I'll call it what I want, okay?
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna require that I think the guardians should be allowed to take the child there for a couple of times a week. He needs to see the child. But I'm gonna also hear from Miss Osborne first. I've already kind of tipped my hand what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna
Well, what
change.
about, Your Honor, though, when he returns to his house, which could be in 4 weeks, and I don't want to have to deal with the delay?
Well, you can renotice this because I don't know. I don't know what condition he returns to the house in. Is he fine? Can he do stuff? Is he going to be almost, I don't want to say bedridden, but how
Okay.
much will he do? Will he not be able to do?
All right, so that way, that works, because if my client's hear that, hey, he's gonna be discharged in a week or in 2 weeks, and I can put it back on the calendar, right?
You can renotice this motion and not have to file a new one.
Okay, that'll work. Perfect. I appreciate that very
Right,
much.
but I'm gonna urge Ms. Osborne and you to deal with this, okay, in a rational manner. Ms. Osborne, I'll hear from you now, please. Well, I would hear from you, but I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. We are more than willing to help facilitate visitations between the minor child and the dad. And we are okay if the grandparents want to be the supervisors for those visits. We're okay with a couple of nights per week. The only issue that my client had was the overnight weekends with the grandparents that
I
she
said
didn't
I'm
think
not
was
gonna
in the
do
best
that.
interest. Right. So if we're in agreement with just, saying a couple of visits a week, we're okay if the grandparents want to go and pick the minor child up from school and take them to visit dad. We're okay with all of that. The only thing we will say for the grandparents to know is that he is going to be starting soccer. I think next week. Was it next week?
It starts in February.
Oh, it starts in February, so a couple of weeks. Hopefully dad's home by then. But for the month of January, whatever days work for them, we can work out what days those are. But
Well, you see,
know-
I don't want to pick the days, but I have to if to make it enforceable unless I'm assured that he's going to get those days. I mean, I would think, here's my initial thought. He gets every Tuesday and Thursday evening, okay? By the time they pick him up and get him there and a few hours, obviously the child has to be supervised while there. You can't just leave a
Correct.
9-year-old child at Mary Free Bed, okay?
Correct.
And there's no reason that he can't be home by 7 o'clock or something like this. This is a 9-year-old. You pick him up after school, and I mean, I would expect the grandparents probably, I don't know when they get something to eat at the hospital or whether they get him something to eat and take him to see dad and do that every Tuesday and Thursday. And I would also suggest a longer period of time on Saturday or Sunday. I don't really care which, if one's better for it than the other. 4 or 5 hours to do that, that'd be fine. I'm not gonna give weekend parenting time right now, but unless I have to, and if I have to, I'll order it. This seems like something that I shouldn't have to do as a referee, because I'm not there. Everybody else knows what's going on at Mary Free Bed and how good he's doing and how that kind of stuff, okay? But I will tell you that I'm gonna order, if you want to put it into an order, 3 hours Thursday and Tuesdays and 5 hours on Saturday or Sunday, and that's the minimum, but somehow you got to work along with this. This is for the child, and I mean, I'm operating in the best interest of the child is what I have to, but there's a certain amount of it that is in dad's best interest, which also is in the child's best interest, okay? It's in the best interest of the child that his dad gets better.
Mhm.
Okay? And you guys got to cooperate on this some, and if he gets out, you need to have some serious conversations about, I'd imagine he will go live with his parents. I don't think he's gonna walk right out into his own home. And you're gonna have to deal with it there. He certainly is going to get an increase in the amount of time he's gonna see the child. But he has to be able to, I don't know how to say, parent also, okay?
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Sherlin. Geez, Pete, you've done this stuff long enough too. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, Your Honor. I appreciate it. I'm picking up what you're putting down. The one thing though that I need some help with is the defendant has insisted that her husband be in the room at some of the
I
visits.
just told you, no, I just told you, this is the order. The grandparents will be there.
Okay.
Nobody else has to be there. One of the grandparents can be there, both of them can be there. Quite honestly, I don't know if he has say he has an older sister and she wants to be there for it. The child just has to have appropriate supervision. It's not gonna be, mom's not gonna step in, nor is mom's dad, husband, or anything like that. That's the purpose of this, okay? And if you come back and I find out that, you know, somebody else is pushing their way in, I'll push them out and issue costs, quite frankly.
Yeah,
This has to
and
be
Your Honor,
something that you guys have to get along on and figure this out in the best interest of the child and the father. And that, by that, I also mean, like, if it's Tuesday and Thursday and this young child has something on Thursday, and you know, he might not want to go to see dad Thursday, but want to go Friday instead. Somehow you guys got to figure that out. All right. The order will be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Okay. That's what the order is.
Your Honor, I don't know Ms. Osborne, but I had a conversation with her and I found her to be very very user friendly, and I don't doubt that we can work the schedule.
And that makes one of you as user friendly.
Well, in fact, I informed her of that, and I'll bet she'll acknowledge I informed her of that. So, and she actually scrambled to get a response in with some fairly short timeframes, and that was much appreciated as well.
And I hope everybody understands what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to deal with something that should be handled by the parties.
Absolutely. And
Totally
Mr.
agree.
Sherlin, if I can, you know, when I first spoke to you, you know, I indicated that we're okay with visits. We're okay with grandma and grandpa being the supervisors. I think when we do the order, when we're preparing that, you know, we should talk about, does grandma and grandpa want to pick him up from school? Who's going to do the transportation to Mary
Sure.
Free Bed? That's all stuff that I think we can work out and make this as user friendly for the clients as possible.
And let me tell you,
I
if
agree.
there is a problem with it, you guys call my office. I'll have you on Zoom or in here promptly, and we'll force you to figure it out.
No, we'll get it figured out, Your Honor. I really do. Like I said, I had a good conversation with Ms. Osborne, and I think she's probably the more reasonable part of this attorney combo.
I agree.
I'll work on that.
Sherlin for many, many years.
Yeah.
And
we'll work on it. The good news is, Your Honor, this appears to be absolutely a temporary circumstance, and
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, not just for your client, but for his child also. And
Yeah.
I hope the mother realizes that too, because she even said in there that the child loves the dad. I mean, there's no question. We just got to get through this temporary thing. So good luck, everybody. Mr. Sherlin, you can draft the order. But with the help of.
Oh, I will. I'll frame something up and send it over to Ms. Osborne and get her input on it, and we'll work it out.
You know, the other thing, I'm not gonna say it specifically, but, well, I'm gonna say it, but I'm not gonna order it, all right? If there's a FaceTime that he can have on a Sunday or a Monday or something like that for half an hour, just, I have to believe the child also would kind of like to make sure his dad's getting better. So
Yeah.
I'm encouraging you to do something like that. I'm not ordering it right now because it's gonna be hard to implement, but allow some FaceTime or I don't know if FaceTime's still the thing anymore. But something like that, okay?
I think
Or
the parties have attempted some of that.
even a telephone call for 10 minutes or something like that.
Right.
Okay? All of that'd be great. I don't know what your client's condition is for that, but I'm just suggesting that, because that's stuff that I will look at to provide later on. All right. Good luck,
All right.
everybody. I wish the best, and ma'am, I I'm not against you, okay? And, in any way, I'm just really hopeful that, Mr. Wolsoner gets through this. It's kind of a miracle that he did from what I was reading. In some of the reports, it sounded like it was the end, quite frankly. And he's come through remarkably, and, I wish everybody the best. Take care, and I'll get some order soon. Again, if you need my assistance for a little thing, both of you contact my office. Tracy will get you in here that day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
Perfect.
luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye now.
Good weekend. Thank you.
Same.